how many salutes is it going to take before the broader white majority wakes up from their slumber and takes action? That is a question that we really need to start thinking about more and more, because for the rest of us, one salute is enough. And at this point, we have now seen four of these instances where prominent Republican and Trump allied figures are doing Nazi salutes at any opportunity that they can. If you haven't been paying attention, the CPAC conference recently wrapped up. And in that conference, you had a who's who of felons and rapists and abusers in and around the conference. But there's a couple of people that we need to pay attention to. One is Steve Bannon. And Steve Bannon had a speech during the conference. And what did that convicted felon do? In the middle of his speech, he threw out a Nazi salute. Apparently, those things are in vogue now since Elon Musk decided that during the inauguration, he would throw out two of them. And not to be outdone, another CPAC speaker, the producer of Sound of Freedom, Eduardo Vestighi, also decided it was a good time to throw up a Nazi salute, which makes you wonder, what is it about the Conservative Political Action Committee conference that brings out all of the Nazis from the woodwork? Why is this the venue that all of these people feel emboldened and safe to do a Nazi salute? That's an important question. But I think the more important question that we have to consider is, why are the vast majority of white people, the biggest demographic in the electorate, remaining silent? That's an important question to consider, isn't it? When you consider that the election that carried Trump to office was about groceries and gas and inflation. And all of those things have gotten worse since he's taken office. And while the campaign was run on domestic kitchen table issues, what was the other major undercurrent of that campaign? There's no doubt about it that the entire Trump 2024 presidential campaign was a sundown campaign, drawing overt and covert callbacks to the 1933 campaign that Hitler ran. And there's a reason why Trump made it a point to stop at every sundown town possible to bring his particular brand of xenophobia, racism, and sexism in front of his largely adoring masses. That was the campaign. Now the administration has carried that forward into policy. And Trump even made an appearance at CPAC to give a speech where he meandered through his talking points, but bringing forward the same stuff that he did during the campaign. And that brings up the question, how much more are white people going to need to see about this administration and from this administration that is going to prompt them into action? For anything to change, it's going to require the majority of white people to lead from the front, because what the administration wants are members of the marginalized community to lead the protests up front so they have an excuse to turn their guns and their hoses against us as a pretext for declaring martial law. So this has got to come from the majority population in the US. So again, I ask the question, how many more salutes are white folks going to need to see before they realize that this is not a joke? He wasn't kidding when he said he wants to be a dictator from day one. He wasn't kidding when he said that Hungary's model of governance, piloted by Viktor Orban, is the model that he's going for. There's a reason why this administration is on the side of Putin and North Korea. There's a reason why this administration has tightly allied itself with 4 South African billionaires who think apartheid was a great model that we should bring back. There is a reason why this administration is siding with the leader of Argentina, who already ran a crypto scam and robbed his people already while parading around with chainsaws. This is a criminal enterprise. This is a criminal Nazi enterprise. At this point, there can be very little doubt about what their intentions are. So again, the question to you, white folks, when are you going to stand up? When are you going to say something? When are you going to do something? Because it's up to you to take the lead against what's coming. And if you don't act, what happens next is also on you. You cannot take the position that the German citizenry did in post World War II, where they claimed ignorance. You see everything in front of you. And if you're making the deliberate decision not to act, you're telling everybody that you agree. Sir Thomas More noted that silence means consent. So, to you, how much longer are you going to remain silent and consent to what's going on?